Hi, Stephen. So, just a couple of things to jazz up the chords you're already doing there. So, you've got the basics down, which is all good. So, these are just a couple of things to, tighten everything up a little bit. So, first of all, is hand movement, right? We were talking about that with, let's say, take Knocking on Heaven's Door, right? If we're talking this one. So, you want that hand movement to be just going down on the ones you count really consistently. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then obviously you can just skip or hit whenever you feel like it the ups that are in between that. But there should never be any need to kind of interrupt that basic down up motion. So that should be just ticking away the whole time. And then you kind of just adjust it according to what you want, but you never interrupt it. That's the main thing. So it's always smooth. There should never be any erratic motion. There's an awful lot you can do just within that basic kind of framework. Same with where do you go to my lovely? So I'm not so sure on the chords on this now, but it's about the rhythm anyway. So this is 6/8. So generally with 6/8, you emphasize the 1 and the 4 of every beat of every bar or every set of beats. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So exact same deal, different time signature, but same thing. You're just going down on the ones you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then hitting it on the way back up, basically as you feel like it. All of that stuff there is just your hand just ticking away the same way all the time. But it's just a case of hitting or missing them as you feel like it, just to make it more interesting. And you are doing that already. It's just to be kind of more aware that that's how it's done. It's just consistent movement all the time, and then just kind of selectively hitting or missing it. And as well as that, you can always emphasize the bass strings or the treble strings as well. Generally on the way up is a good way to it. So you can go down and then down on the bass strings and then down on the treble strings. So if we go back to Knocking on Heaven's Door. So that's just another way you can kind of mix things up a little bit. So next thing then is bass notes. So just try wherever you can. Out of those 8 chords, 8 basic open chords, only G and E minor and major involve the 6th string. So if you can at all, just particularly with D, because even if you can just barely get your thumb up there to touch it, because you only just need to make contact with it. There's no pressure needed or anything if you can get it in touch. Any way you can, it just makes the D chord sound much better, because that in it just doesn't belong there. It's just muddy. Same with the C. So if you can't get the thumb up there on the C, what you can do is get the 3rd finger up a little bit, just to the point where it's holding down the A string on the 3rd fret, but then touching the 6th string. Really makes a big difference in terms of just clarity. The next thing is to modify them. So for example, one thing I like to do when I'm playing an A minor chord is to start off with the 1st finger up and then hammer it down. Now the thing with hammer-ons is the quicker and snappier you can get the finger down, the more clear they're going to be. So you can't really be gentle about it. But just give yourself a good bit of clearance, come down hard. Now you can do that with any of them as well though. And then you can add ones as well. Now you don't necessarily need to know what they are or anything, just to whether or not they sound good. So this one works. This one's nice. And then some of them don't work, right? So it's just trial and error, really. So you can add ones in, take them out, and just on, off, just to create a bit of melody within the chord. It's a nice, easy way of doing it. And then one more thing you can try that we didn't talk about today was just picking the chord instead of strumming it, right? So if you got the plec, let's say if it's where do you go to my lovely? So that's going to be 6/8. So you want 6 picks per chord basically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all I'm doing is hitting the bass string. So this one for C. Then skipping one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 is usually the highest one, and then you go back on the chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then back for the last two. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the bass string would be E for the E minor, open E string for the E minor chord, and then the same thing. And then if it's not in 6/8, you could just do it in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And it doesn't, I won't say it doesn't matter which string you hit, but it doesn't really matter because they're all in the chord anyway, so they're all going to sound good. So what really matters with a picking pattern is basically that you have the right amount of notes. So that way the rhythm kind of cycles in a regular kind of pattern. That you do have to get right. But which note you hit, as long as you're holding the chord right, you can hit whichever ones you want, really. So that's just something to think about as well, to try to throw that in with the chords as well. So that's probably plenty to begin on with. So I'll talk to you next time.